A place is never just land. It's a vessel for history, a story told by mountains and rivers, a culture that's been carved into wood and stone. Some places are built from memory, and Wano is one of them. So you have to understand, Wano isn't a fantasy. It's a memory. It's a dream of a nation that once was, pieced back together from fragments of its art, its myths, and its deepest fears. To understand this land, we're not going to look for what's new. We have to look for what's been remembered. For over 200 years, Japan was a sealed nation. This was a policy called Sakoku, the closed country. And it was a choice. It was a strategy by the Tokugawa shogunate to keep colonizers out. By closing its borders, the country, it turned inward. Its culture intensified, kind of like it was developing in a pressure cooker of isolation. Wano is the ghost of this policy, a nation frozen in time, defined by the very walls it built to protect itself. To enter Wano isn't just to cross a border. It's to pass through a work of art. You see a giant carp climbing this violent waterfall. Now, this isn't some new invention. It's an image pulled right from the visual language of ukiyo-e woodblock prints. It's the world as seen by Hokusai. The waves aren't just water, they're frozen violence, a performance of nature that both welcomes you and warns you in the exact same breath. And this philosophy, it's what the entire aesthetic of Wano is built on. Ukiyo-e, which means pictures of the floating world. It's this belief that life is transient, just a fleeting moment before it disappears. The cherry blossoms, the deep Prussian blues, they're more than just decoration. They're a reminder that Wano, like the floating world it is just a fleeting moment of beauty, a dream that will eventually be over. The story itself is a performance. Its narrative isn't structured like some modern novel. No, it's structured like a traditional kabuki play. It's divided into acts, following this ancient rhythm of Jo-Ha-Kyu, beginning, break, and a rapid finale. The structure, well, it's a promise. It tells us from the very beginning that we are not watching a simple adventure. We're watching a tragedy unfold upon a stage. And on this stage, even emotion is an act of political control. The SMI fruits are a grotesque echo of a historical truth. You see, in feudal Japan, dissent was crushed. A public face of contentment was required. Laughter became a mask, a tool for survival under a regime that demanded joy, whether you felt it or not. This control, it extends beyond the emotions of the people. It shapes the very landscape of the nation. Power in Wano, like pretty much everything else, wears a beautiful mask. The flower capital? Well, it's the heart of this whole deception, a fortress disguised as a flower. If you look at Japan's Himeji castle, they call it the White Heron. Its beauty is its defense. Its elegance is a form of strength. Wano's castles, though, they invert this entire philosophy. They use beauty not as a defense, but as a disguise for oppression. The elegance is just a wall that separates the chosen from the condemned. Just look at the temple of Kiyomizu-dera, this wooden stage just suspended over empty air. In Japan, vertical architecture is often a statement of faith. Height connects the earth to the divine. The shogun's castle, reaching for the heavens like that, it becomes a symbol of his authority, a constant physical reminder of the distance between him and his people. And all this authority exists to enforce a rigid social order. Wano society is a direct reflection of the feudal caste system. The samurai rule, the citizens serve, and at the very bottom are the outcasts. The people of Akabori town are the spiritual descendants of the Hinin, the untouchables of the Edo period, whose place in the world was fixed from the moment they were born. So if the flower capital is a sacred mountain reaching for heaven, then Onigashima is its demonic inversion. In Japanese sacred geography, mountains like Fuji are an axis of the world, a source of divine authority. Kaido's fortress takes this holy geography and just turns it upside down. It's not a place of worship. It's a monument to brute force, a skull on a mountain, mocking the very idea of the divine. The desire for Wano, the reason it's such a target for conquest, is also rooted in a historical memory, a rumor that began way back with a 13th century merchant, Marco Polo. He wrote of a distant island in the east, a land of endless treasure. He called it Zipangu. But here's the thing. Marco Polo never actually visited Japan. His story was just hearsay, a legend built on a tiny fragment of truth. The source of the myth was likely the Chusonji Golden Hall, a single magnificent Buddhist temple covered entirely in gold leaf. One building became the seed for a story of an entire nation just paved with gold. The legend of Zipangu was more powerful than the reality. It was this story, this dream of unimaginable wealth that put Japan on the maps of European conquerors. It just goes to show a country's reputation can be its greatest treasure and its greatest curse. Wano inherited both. That maybe Wano's gold was never a metal. Maybe it was a metaphor all along. Its true wealth lies in things that are far more valuable. Its unique resources, like the mysterious sea stone. Its guarded knowledge, the forging techniques that can create these legendary blades. And its most dangerous secret of all, the history written on unbreakable stones. The legend of Wano's greatest hero, it isn't a new one. It's an echo of a much, much older story. The story of Prince Yamato Takeru, a wild, untamed god in human form from Japan's oldest myths, a figure of raw, divine power. Like Odin, Yamato Takeru was exiled by his father, the emperor. In Japanese mythology, this isn't just a punishment, it's a necessary trial. The hero must be cast out of the civilized world. He has to gain the power of the wild, so he can be forged into a tool of the state. His journey, it's a form of purification. You see, the hero's greatest test isn't one of strength, it's one of pride. To defeat his enemies, Yamato Takeru disguised himself as a woman, sacrificing his honor as a warrior to achieve his goal. This is the strategy of humiliation. It's the direct spiritual ancestor of Odin's shameful dance, a public disgrace that he endured for 5 years, all to protect his people. So Odin's life is a continuation of this ancient pattern. It's the true samurai paradox, that honor is found not in victory but in self-sacrifice. His story follows the path of the hero who isn't destined to rule, but to be sacrificed for the soul of his nation. And this leads us to a core Japanese aesthetic, hanganbiki, a deep, cultural sympathy for the noble loser, a belief that a beautiful death in a lost cause is more profound than an easy victory. Odin's execution in that boiling pot is the ultimate performance, a tragic, heroic death that becomes the very legend that awakens a nation. Every story of a closed country has an ending. For Japan, it was the arrival of Commodore Perry's black ships in 1853, an outside force that shattered centuries of isolation with the threat of cannons. It was a cultural shockwave that dragged a medieval samurai society into the modern world. The arrival of pirates in Wano? Well, that's the arrival of their black ships, the violent, inevitable end of an era. The promise at the end of this long struggle is the dawn of the world. This word, yoake, or dawn, is itself a historical echo from that period of upheaval when Japan was forced open. But we should really ask ourselves, what does this word truly mean? Because the memory of a nation is never really gone. It can be buried, sure, but it's always there, just beneath the surface. A dawn isn't an ending. It's not necessarily peace or victory. It's simply the arrival of light. And light exposes everything. It reveals the scars, the ruins, and the memories that have somehow survived the darkness. The dawn isn't a resolution. It's a moment of confrontation with everything that came before. And this is the final truth of a place like Wano. Fiction can have an ending, a story can conclude, but history doesn't. History doesn't end. It waits. It waits for its moment to resurface.